Hi everyone, welcome to Coffee with Colleen. Happy Thursday. I hope you all are doing amazing. I'm so excited today. I'm going to have Roseanna Rizzo with me and we're going to have an awesome time together. And first off, I just wanted to say a few things until she pops on here. But I'm going to save the coffee cup for when she's here because I want her to hear my thoughts on the coffee cup. But just wanted to encourage you, give you a little fun introduction about what my hope is for this episode is just to really get to know Roseanna and for you guys to experience her too. She's such a wonderful person. Not only is she a talented actress and coach, but she's also a really amazing mentor and encourager. And hey Roseanna, and she's just been such an encouragement for me for my acting career and has helped me hit some really cool breakthroughs for acting. But also like she loves Jesus and she's such an amazing follower of Jesus, and she's been encouraging for me in that way too for my spiritual life and just taking risks and trusting God, doing the impossible. So all right, Roseanna, I'm going to just have you jump on. Let me jump you on. Approve. She's going on. Those of you on Instagram, you will hear her. Hi, Roseanna. You'll hear her, but then later I will post the video with her on so you guys can watch her too. So she's connecting. I
Oh,
love your outfit. Oh my
just want
gosh.
to have fun.
I actually almost put like a little Santa picture in the background or something. Oh, I totally should have. I love
Uh,
your outfit. So
we're
fun.
thinking on the same wavelength.
We were, but you
Okay.
followed through, not me.
Now I can, yeah, follow through. Remember,
Yes.
just ride that wave and
Yep.
just show up. All my little tidbits there.
Yep. That's so true.
Well, hi. Anyway,
So do you have your coffee mug?
I do. Look, I have a few actually, but this
Okay.
is for Christmas. This is my favorite one. Okay, and so it says. Jesus is the reason for the season.
Oh, I love it.
Okay. So that's my favorite Christmas coffee mug, and
Uh-huh.
it's already been used quite a lot. So, but my favorite all year round is my Mrs. You know, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm part of Mr. and Mrs.
That's cute.
And we do that occasionally. We sit down and we use
Oh.
our coffee mugs, and it's got scripture on it, about where you go I'll go, where you stay I'll stay. And so that just reminds us of that unity. And we just love just sitting down having coffee and with our special mug. So that's just a special thing between my husband and I. And
Oh.
I don't really drink out of it outside of being with him, so
Oh.
that's it. So
That's
anyway, I'm going to
cool.
take a sip of my salted caramel cocoa from Trader
Mm.
Joe's.
That sounds really good. I before I show
It
you
is.
my when did you get the Mr. and Mrs. mug? Did you get it on your wedding day or is it something you got later?
No, no, I was at when Christian bookstores were open, because I can't find a one now, but
I
uh,
know.
several years ago, might have been around our anniversary.
Okay.
uh, I saw them, and they were kind of in like for marrieds, like a marriage gift that you would give somebody. And I
Mm-hmm.
just fell in love with him. I didn't know anybody at the time that was getting married, so I thought, huh, it's perfect for me, and for my husband. So yeah, and I actually since then have tried to buy similar ones like that for newlyweds, people are
Oh,
just getting married and stuff, because I really like it. I just think it's if they drink coffee or drink tea or whatever it is they drink, just like a unity kind of thing. I think it's just a fun,
mm-hmm.
you know, dating can be really fun. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
all elaborate and everything, and so that's part of our thing, that
Yeah.
we like to do.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
should, Corey and I should get something like, I'm trying to think if we have something like that. We do like to have coffee together. It's usually when we're working by each other, but we have little salt shakers we got at our wedding. One of them's like, I'll be your salt if you'll be my pepper. So they're like, that's pretty,
Oh,
yeah. So I forget who
I
got it.
need, we need salt and pepper shakers actually. That's
Yeah,
something I used to have some crystal ones, but they broke,
yeah.
from use. And I've been actually looking for ones, and I don't even see them now that I'm looking for it. I
Yeah.
don't see them.
That's so funny. I don't know who
Anyway,
got these because we got them
so
as a gift. But if I find them, I'll have to show you or get you
yeah,
them.
yeah,
I
yeah.
want to say hi to Terry who just popped on. She's a family, lovely, awesome person. Um, so my coffee mug, because I haven't shared this yet, is Dare to Believe. And this is actually like a ministry that I just discovered today. My in-laws, they sent this gift to them, and and uh and I actually picked this. I was actually thinking about using this cup next time, but then I was like, this reminds me of Roseanna. So I was like, I need to use this as today because you definitely have been like that person for me, like for acting and just dreams. Like you're always like dare to believe like the craziest things. And so I wanted to have this as my coffee mug. But I guess this is a cool ministry that
Awesome.
podcast and different things. So I did a little research, but they're big on dreams and dream interpretation. So, but dare
Oh,
to
that's
believe, but
awesome.
yeah, it reminded me of you. I'm like, I have to have this coffee mug here. So
Yeah, I love that dare to believe because that is really interesting. Most people don't even dare to believe. I ask people like, well, if you could do whatever you wanted to do, what would that be? And they're like, stuck. But they can rattle off like a gazillion things that they don't want to do or they don't
yeah,
like or they don't appreciate or they're not good at, whatever. And I'm going, wow, my daughter actually won an award for some choreography that she had done, and it was called the Dare to Believe Award.
oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
yeah,
that's
and she was pretty young when she did that. Um, her group that she'd been a part of, a dance group before, they'd won overall for that. But she went into another competition that had that same kind of award for the choreography, and she was a choreographer for that, a small piece. And I love that award out of anything. Any
yeah,
kind of award you can give is that dare to believe because I think it takes you out of the smallness that we've been kind of pushed into.
mm-hmm.
So I just love it, and I love hearing people's dreams. And I go, and it's funny because what some dreams to some people, they don't dare to believe those because they thought that would never happen. That's too big. I don't even have a connection for that. I don't have any talent or abilities. I've never studied that. And I go, to me, when I'm looking at them and they're expressing that, I'm like going, no. I said that is so you. That like that can really happen. And I
Mm,
even sometimes end up having examples of how it has happened to other people that I've known.
yeah, wow.
And so that's always exciting to me, because it's breakthrough kind of stuff. If we live
Yeah,
like that all the time, imagine some of the things we would be accomplishing right now.
I know.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
I
that's
love
fun.
that. Yeah, I was even thinking like similar, like there are a lot of people who won't even allow themselves to believe like a dream because they're afraid to be let down. And I think
Right.
that like it's a risk to take, but what would you rather do? Try like believe and go for something that you believe in, like and think positively about it, or do you want to drown yourself in like the negative thoughts of like, oh, I'm not even gonna bother, like oh, like either that place is I feel like is more unhappy than believing and taking that risk and it maybe turning out differently or not turning out the way you thought. But my thought is when you believe in yourself and just keep going towards that, it's almost impossible for something to not happen, like you know what I mean. And so and I feel like something cool that I love that you've taught me is just partnering with Holy Spirit and imagining myself doing the thing that I want to do and like spending time on that, like and that's like building your faith, and I feel like that's so important, really important.
Yeah. And what's interesting though, it's like a lot of people go, what does that have to do with acting class or acting or coaching? It has everything to do with it because you have to utilize your imagination. What is
Mm,
acting about? We're telling a story. We're actually believing something, we're speaking something as a character that we're not in real life, that, that's not really our story, that hasn't really happened to us individually or personally, but we still choose to believe it. And there's where it goes. It's the choice.
Yep.
Choose to believe that. Now, why can't you do that in your everyday life? And most people who have succeeded and are living in a place of, um, just being satisfied with their life, it's because they have dared to believe, and they've gone, they've gone out into the deep, because again, got to go out into the deep, a lot of times for your dreams. But the thing that you said earlier is like, a lot of people, it's the fear
Mm-hmm.
of not getting what you're dreaming for. But yet, God gave us an imagination, and he gave it for a very good reason. It's a creative thing. See, he spoke the things into existence. We're
Mm-hmm.
made in his image. So
Yeah.
we speak the things into existence,
Mm-hmm.
and every day we get better and better at that. The more you practice that, just like you get better at knowing lines in a play or a film or a TV show, you're speaking those lines, you're going over that script, and pretty soon, there are some people that after they do a series for a long time, or even after they do a film, or after they do a character, for a while, there's things that they have adopted from that character that they don't even realize, and yet when we tell them dream, they go, I really can't do that. I don't believe that. I can't. I go, did you believe it with a character?
Yeah.
You know, you took the lines and you said them, and you memorized them. There are a lot of people that actually, on the flip side of that, on the good side of that, is that they, after doing certain characters and doing certain things that the character would do that they may never have done or wouldn't have done, now they're like, they're all over the place. They're bold. They're great. I can do this. I can ride that wave.
Yeah.
Um, and I was thinking of like the movie The Matrix, how
Uh,
if anybody ever sees it, it's like, oh, so you don't, you want to learn how to do taekwondo, karate, right? We'll plug in that, drop
yeah.
in the desk there, and it's
Mm-hmm.
there because actually the stuff is there within us. All we have to do is utilize it. We
Yeah.
do have to turn on the plug and make a decision. I'm going to go there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go there. And, even if you feel like you failed, I don't think anything is a failure. Even if it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't look right, or, it's not exactly how you thought. I don't think it's a failure, because to me, every step you take towards discovering and the journey is going to build you up and make you so much more accessible to all the things that God's already put in your heart. And so I get excited, so, every inventor has failed, I don't know, a gazillion times before the thing came out.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's all kinds of statistics about that. You can just, hang out with the statistics, or you can be the inventor who tried
Yep.
everything to get to where they wanted to go. But you got to enjoy the journey. See, I think
That's the
that's
key.
another area,
Yeah,
you
that's a
know,
key thing.
because we don't enjoy the journey, then it becomes work, and it becomes like a failure if I didn't get it
Mm-hmm.
right. How long is this going to take? What else do I have to do? And that's what actually heard this morning, in my mind. I heard, if you're waiting for the day to enjoy something
Mm-hmm.
that you want, you're going to wait forever. You have to enjoy this moment right now, on the way to where you think you want to go, because a lot of times we're going places that we think that's where I want to go. Then we get there and we go, this is not where I want to go. I don't want to be here. I don't
Yeah.
even like this. But we tried so hard to get there, and we don't want to give up on that thing. And, but I felt like God was saying, enjoy every moment. First of all, enjoy it as if you have already accomplished everything you want to accomplish, because you actually have. In his eyes, you have.
Mm-hmm.
So to transfer that, and then when you get there, you realize, wow, you have a choice. You have a choice before you get there, but either way, you're always enjoying yourself. You're
Yeah.
always enjoying the journey and discovering new things on that path. maybe even greater things, maybe even an upgrade to what you thought you wanted to do. But there's no loss in it at all. So.
Yeah, that's good. That's definitely something that I've been discovering, is like enjoying the process and being happy in each moment that I'm in. Because, like you said, I don't want to get 10 years down the road and like maybe I will enjoy that 10 years down the road. But when I look back, I don't want to be like, oh, why was I so whiny and mopey during the time? Not going to say that I don't complain, because that happens and I do whine. But it's like deciding when you realize what you're doing, like whining, to make that decision to be like, okay, wait a second. I'm going to look at what I'm thankful for, and I'm going to figure this out. And maybe I need to make a shift in my life so that I don't feel so unhappy in this area. Before I continue, my mom asked, she's on Instagram, she asked who she's listening to. So it's Roseanna Rizzo, Mom, and she's my acting coach. And if you do want to see her face, you can go on, I don't know if you have Facebook anymore. If you don't, I'll be putting the video up later. But she is live on Facebook right now if you want to check her out. She's
Hi, Mom.
She says hi. She's my dedicated viewer. You are actually a very dedicated viewer also.
Yeah, but tell your mom she did a great job with you. You have a great daughter.
Roseanna said, I'm sure you maybe heard her mom, but she said that you did a great job on me. Thank you. That's sweet. Well, cool. Well, I love how we already opened up the show, because this is what I'm really passionate about, is like believing, like pursuing, just like dreams, but dreams don't have to be career dreams. Like I'm pursuing that, but that's also like, you want to have like a family, you want to enjoy your life, you want to maybe save up for a boat or whatever it is that you dream of. I think it's important to believe and just go for it. But I do want to have time to talk about you, and then we can intertwine this. So I want to start off and ask you, Roseanna, actually, so I want to know, one, when did you decide you wanted to do acting? Like, was it like an aha moment? Oh my gosh, this is what I want to do, and where that happened, and kind of a little bit of your story there. But also, did you believe in yourself when you first started out, even?
Okay, so I started acting when I was about 9 years old in New York. And I had no idea. I mean, I like TV. And I watch particular shows, but TV wasn't like, and film wasn't like it is now. I mean, but I was 9 years old, and my brother, who had already been acting a little bit, he came in one day and sat me down. I was in the bathroom, so he sat me down on the bowl, and said, "Look," he goes, "read this." And he gave me a script, I guess. I didn't even know what it was, but gave me this piece of this book. I looked at it, and he showed me what to read. He goes, and so I read it with him. And he goes, "Okay, good." And then he calls my sister in, and he said, "All right, I want you to take her tonight after class, or tomorrow after school, and I want you to take her to this address. She's going on an audition." And so awesome. She goes, "Okay." And so the next day after school, my sister picks me up, takes me downtown someplace near Broadway. And I did the audition. There was other little girls there, so that was my first audition or even clue about anything. And so they all went in. I was pretty much the last one to go in, or maybe 2 or 3 after me. But I went in, but he asked me to stay. And so then the director came out and said, "Okay, you got the part." So I go, "Yeah, okay, that's cool." I didn't know what that meant. I mean, I'd always done stuff in school though as a kid. It was for a play. I don't even remember The Sun Also Rises, I think, was the name of the play, but I'm not even sure.
And you were in New York at this time, correct?
I was what?
In New York at the time?
Yes, yeah. I lived in New York. Lived in Queens at the time, but the audition was near Broadway. It was an off-Broadway. It was going to be an off-Broadway production.
Okay.
And then from that point on, but my mind always was creative. I was always doing something, like in school. Not at that time. That was the first of that kind of thing. But when I went into elementary school, a little bit higher, like sixth or seventh grade. You know how they used to, I don't know if they still do this, but give you books to read that you have to read over during the school period time, but they give you the list of them before you come back to school. So what I love to read. So I would just get all the books and I'd read them all through the summer. You know, I'd get it all done. So I was already done. And then they would, you know, tell you, okay, you got to read this book. And so finally, you know, about the second, maybe the first or the second book that I'm going like, this is boring for me, you know, because I've already read all these books. I want to do something else that has to do with English or storytelling or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I asked the teacher, went to a Catholic school. So I asked the nun teacher, I said, if I can come up with a play that can help students, you know, help some of my fellow students to like read more and to entertain and to, you know, get all the English portion of reading and telling a story down. Can I skip these classes, you know, on the books that I've already read all of them? I said, I'll get the smartest kids in the class to be in the play. Now, I hadn't discussed this with the smartest kids in the class, but I had that in my head. I said, then we could go from room to room in the school and entertain people with the whatever it is, the play that I'm doing. So she kind of just, she didn't know, I don't think she even thought twice about it. She goes, yeah, if you can do that, sure. So I set out to find other actors. I got the best ones. One, the smartest kid in the school, really, I think in the whole school, not just in my grade. He was in my class, and I had to actually connive him, or not threaten him. I couldn't threaten him. He was really nice, but he didn't want to do it because he said, no, I'm kind of shy because I don't want to act. I don't want to be seen. He goes, no. I said, look, I'll do anything you want me to do as far as schoolwork for you. You know, like I'll write things out for you. I'll do whatever it is for the next month if you will take the lead part. And so he goes, are you sure? I go, absolutely, I will do it. So he took the lead part. Turns out that he, everybody loved him. He was so good. He was so good that eventually I found out later on that he did a stint on Broadway as an adult later on, which he'd never even considered up to that point. So that's how I started that way, just like producing and directing and, you know, getting material. And then, you know, then I came out here when I was to California when I was about 23 years old. 23, yeah. And I started, you know, my brother helped me to find some coaching. And, you know, he took me to a whole bunch of people that he thought were the top, but he actually ended up studying with one of those people. He was always studying some, you know, because he's an actor as well. And so, but the one that I ended up with was at Strasberg Institute.
Oh, awesome.
And yeah, and so, you know, when I was 25, I was in a class, I was 24, I was in a class where all the actors in that class were already actors that were working. You know, they were either on stage, on TV, on, you know, on film, already done, they had credits up the kazoo. One guy was on, what's that Shadows, that series, Dark Shadows, the series Dark Shadows, which was popular. Huh?
Is it with the vampires?
Yeah. It was very popular then. It was the first one, you know, that was done. Well, one of the stars of that, he was in my class, you know. So those were the kind of people. So I was like a mascot to them, but they loved me. They thought I was really good. And so I was going to celebrate my 25th birthday, and they said, okay. And so what they did was they got me a big card, a birthday cake, and then they like a little contract that said, you will be working by the end of this year. You will go out and get, you know, a job as an actress. And I thought, okay. And it was a commitment. They were sold on it. You know, they just like this, they wrote this out. We blew out the candles, you know, and I was gone. Within a month, maybe even less, I got my first job on a TV, like it was some series or something that
Uh-huh.
never made it, but it was, I did it, and I was
Yeah.
good, and I was the main part, in it. And
Wow.
so that, that's how I started. And then after that, boom, boom, I just kept, I don't know how I did what I did, tell the truth. I think about it sometimes now. I go like, how did I get there? How did I do that? But I would just show up, which is what I tell you guys.
Yeah.
People would say, well, they're not casting anybody like your type. I go, oh, okay, right. I just show up, you know. Well, no, they've already booked everybody. They've already cast everything. I just show up. You know how many jobs I got just showing up?
How many? I'm like,
At least
tons.
five. At
Yeah.
least five.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
For two series. One I just showed up to a casting workshop. I didn't have the money to pay for it, so I couldn't be in it. I could only observe.
Yep.
Okay, so that's fine. So I sat there and I observed with the casting director. She talked about something she was casting. And I thought, huh. So I went home. I took down all the information and uh, got her the reel. And at those times, we used to have those reels that were huge, and, got
Awesome.
those, got my stuff. Yeah, there's actual reel. And got my picture and my resume. And I showed up, at the studio where she worked, and I gave it to her assistant or whatever. Well, within a few hours of me going there, getting there, and coming back home, uh, I saw that there was a message, on my message machine. Another thing that we used to use then. And anyway, so I call her back, and so she goes, "Hi." She goes, "I got your stuff." She goes, "I'm sorry, but I have cast everything, in that particular show." I go, "Oh," I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Well, it was really good to meet you." She goes, "Yeah, but I'd like to see you for another pilot that I'm doing. So can you come in, tomorrow?" And I go, "Yeah." So I went in, took the next day, and I got the pilot. I got the part,
Uh-huh.
and it was a fun show. But again, see, you never know. She'd already cast the thing. I didn't even pay for the workshop, so she never saw. She saw my work on the reel, which she liked.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, otherwise she wouldn't have called me back. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just would show up all the time.
And then what show was that? Did that one go on live?
The the uh,
The
the
pilot that
pilot,
casted you?
um, it was called. It was about a temporary employment. I think it was temporary employment is what the name of it was. It
Okay.
didn't get picked up.
Okay.
Um, Now
No-
from there, I had a lot of in between stuff. There was about 40 people actually in that cast,
Wow.
and it was crazy. It was really crazy. But I met a lot of amazing people. The guy who directed it and produced it was the guy from Bosom Buddies, where Tom Hanks originally started. So I got to meet Tom Hanks because of that, and his partner on that, which I forget the other actor's name, Peter Scolari, who's also a very good actor. And so I had an amazing time. And that led me to other things, and to actually auditioning for the Jeffersons, which then I got, three parts on that. And then also for Dallas. I was
Yeah.
ready to quit the business actually when they called me for the Jeffersons.
Really? What made you want to quit at that?
That I felt like I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. I wasn't having fun. I wasn't getting enough calls, for
Mm-hmm.
me. And this is the thing. That's why we need to appreciate what we have, because think about it. I was still a working actress. I was
Mm-hmm.
working, uh, but I wasn't appreciating that as much. I got here. I wanted to go there, and
Mm-hmm.
then there, and then there. I wanted to do more, and so that takes away from really having a great time in the moment that you aren't really appreciating. So I was ready to quit, and I had called. Uh, I had kind of done background work behind the scenes of all the sitcoms that were going on at the time, incognito, so that I would always try to be really, really background, so that they wouldn't put me in a principal, like near the principals or anything. because I was wanting to observe where I wanted to work. Did I want to work with this director? Did I want to work with this cast? You know, what was the vibe kind of then? What
Yeah.
was going on that set? And so I figured out, there were a few places that I go, yeah, I wouldn't, I mean, I'd take the job, but this is not something that I'd really want to do full time on that.
Mm.
And then there were some that I go, yeah, I could really do this. I like this. So they called me for the Jeffersons. I had already in my head, I was on a tour and I was being trained as a tour escort for Australia, England, and New Zealand. And I was one of 2,000 people that were being that went for that kind of a job, and there was only 10 of us that were picked.
Oh, wow.
And so I was on a training thing when I got the call for the Jeffersons, and the casting person, I knew the casting person pretty well, and there's an interesting story about that too. So anyway,
Okay.
my agent called me and she said, they want you, they want you to come in for the Jeffersons. I go, yeah, is it like a done deal? I said, is it, they just want to look at me, or, because they had seen me, the
Mm-hmm.
casting person had seen me. And so she goes, well, no, you got to come in for the audition and everything. I go, you know what? I am working for somebody right now and I'm committed. I said, and I have to finish this. She goes, what? She goes, so what do I tell him? I go, just tell him thank you very much. And, I can't do it right now. I can't come off this tour right now. And so, and I actually had been at the tour, was in the part of the tour that I was in when she called me was in California, I was in California. I was at the farmer's market
Oh,
actually at that point.
uh-huh.
Anyway, so after the tour's over, okay,
Uh-huh.
they hired me on the spot. The tour escort people hired me and already gave me a trip that I could solo on, take on. So out of the 10, I was the number one pick. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, but after I'd finished all that, I wasn't really crazy about the whole
Yeah.
thing. I go home as soon as actually when they're giving me the job, I'd gotten a call on my message that said that I actually was called for an audition for something for Lorimar Productions. Now, Lorimar Productions are the same production company that for Dallas at that time.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so I went right from the tour company thing uh, uh, to my boyfriend at the time took me directly to the audition because it was like right the same. Okay, so I went right to the audition. I do the audition. They love me. I walk out. I get home. I'm unpacking my stuff. As I'm unpacking my stuff, I get a call and say, "You're booked." Okay, for what you just went on. I go, "What?" I go to, I mean, I'm already ready to quit. Okay. Here I
Uh,
get like this audition, that offer. Okay. So I go, now I have to make a decision because the day that I'm supposed to be leaving for this tour is the day that I'm filming.
oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So uh, I wasn't born again at the time. And so I was, but I did have the old Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name prayer from my Catholic days.
Yep.
And I just said, I don't know what to do. I said, and then I realized I had to do what I really loved doing, which
Yeah.
at that time was acting, being in the entertainment industry. And so I called the company and I had a lot of favor with them, with the top boss. I think he had a thing for me, even though he had a girlfriend, which I didn't. But
Mm.
and when he was so pissed off, I can't even tell you. I mean, there was plenty of people to take my place. Okay, they had 9 other people to take my place
Yeah.
that were all good. Actually, I think all of them were better than I was, but I think I really got the job because of him. Really. So uh, then I called, then I got my stuff for the thing, and then uh, that opened the door for more Lorimar things. Okay, which opened the door for Dallas. But then I sent a written thank you note to, I dropped it off to the Jeffersons, and whoever the I forget who the casting person was or whatever. Anyway, within, again, a few hours of me dropping that off, they call me and they go, can you come in now? I go, for what? They call me directly. They didn't even call me through my agent.
Agent. Oh my God.
Yeah, they thank me for the thing. So, can you come in? And so I go, what is this for? They go, for the part, that we'd asked you before. And I go, I said, I said, what do you mean? I go, you haven't cast that yet? Because it had been 3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they go, no, we couldn't really find anybody. I go, really? I go, okay, where do you want me? So then they gave me the appointment. I went before the casting person first because she wanted
To make
to go
sure.
things. And she goes, okay, this is not just a regular audition. This is before the suits. And we all knew what that was,
Yeah. Yeah.
although I'd never been before those suits before, and that I know of. And so I said, okay, fine. To me, acting is acting. It doesn't matter who it's before,
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, she gave me a few little pointers, but basically, mostly she just wanted me to be who I was, and just she goes, because she had seen me so many times, and I'll tell you why. So she knew me. So this was a major break. And the other times that she saw me were for, like for parts on the Jeffersons or other shows that she casted, comedies like that. But they weren't really major parts, but they were good parts, but it would be a one-time thing. And so I go before the suits. She, I guess, came up later after she sent me up. And she was, I guess, behind the door or something. Anyway, I walk in, they're all sitting on a couch, and they literally did have dark suits on.
So
Yeah, it
for
was.
people who don't know, the suits are like the big producers, the people who
Yeah,
deal with the
yeah.
money. They're not like entertained easily.
Right. Right. So I walk in, and there they are. And so it's, not a huge room, but it's large enough that they're kind of at a distance, all sitting on a couch, and all looking very, important. So I come in, and I don't even know what the talking was before. They said, are you ready? And I said, sure. I started. They were laughing from beginning to end, I mean, laughing, literally like chuckling, laughing. And so, anyway, so at the end of the film, and I just stayed in character, just did my thing. I didn't even get some of the jokes that was weird for me. I was truly the character. I didn't really get it. I was supposed to get a little bit dipsy. But anyway, but they were getting them. So at the end, they just, they thanked me, and I left. And so when I left, though, she was out there, and she said, okay, she goes, I've never heard them laugh, in these kind of meetings. She goes, they usually are like, so straightforward, they're like, nothing makes them move. So I said, oh, okay, that's cool. So I go home, and again, within a very short period of time, they go, okay, you booked it. They want you. That's, and so then that was how I got that. Now, the reason that she had seen me so many times, and I had the opportunity, was I had done a little stint at the Mark Taper Forum. It wasn't part of the Mark Taper Forum. It just happened to be there. And I knew the director, and his assistant was this young man, Ray, who also kind of had a crush on me. But he was, I had a boyfriend, and I don't know what. Anyway, I wasn't interested at the time. Very nice guy though, and it was like a little bit of, it was comedy drama, that we were doing. And we worked very hard, and we put it on. And he was the assistant during that, who was the director's, like PA kind of. And so he got a job at this top casting person's office. Okay.
Oh, wow.
This woman. Okay. And every time, it didn't matter, because she I think she was casting at least 5 of the different sitcoms during that time. Okay. Every time there was a female part in it, you know, that they were looking outside of the cast, he put my face. It didn't matter. He put my picture in front of her. He
Uh-huh.
goes, you have to call her in. She's really good. And so she doesn't fit the part. He goes, just call her in. She's really good. You have to hear her. So finally, uh, about, I don't know, and she told me that it was at least 10 times that he kept putting my picture. So she goes, I finally said, okay, just call her in. Yeah, tell her I want to see her. So I come in and, we do the audition for whatever. I didn't get that part, but she really liked me. Then after that, it was an automatic. She was, his name is Ray. I remembered. I can't remember her name. It was, I think Ruth was her first name, but she kept bringing me in. So that's why she remembered me totally
Mm-hmm.
for, that part. But again, see, just show up, just show up. Now she was doing the opposite. He was doing it for me, just show up, just see her, just watch her, just, meet her.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of those kinds of things in my life. People, my first agent I got because my picture, a guy that I knew that was in my acting class, that first acting class I told you where most of them were. Well, he was at that time doing mobile feast or some kind of thing where they delivered food, there
Okay.
to the different studios and whatever. And so he walked into his agent's office and he saw my picture in the trash can. And so he was delivering her food. He saw
Mm.
my picture in the trash can, my pick and resume. He pulls it out. He goes, "No, you want to see this girl." And she goes, "No, no, I'm not interested." He goes, "No, you do want to see this girl." And
Wow.
so he goes, then he said, she's Victor. My brother is an actor too. So, and
Yeah.
he'd been in 4 series. Well, he goes, she's Victor Campos's sister. And so she goes, what? So she takes the picture and she goes, Victor, I was Victor's first agent.
Oh my gosh.
Come on now.
Yeah,
So
that's
really,
so
she
good.
called me up immediately after that. I signed with her. That was my first agent.
That's so cool. I
You know,
love that.
so
I love that.
yeah,
I mean, I talk about creativity in the show, but the fact that you didn't even like you weren't, you know, actively in a relationship with God and like following his path, so to speak, like for a Christian, like, oh, you must follow his path and stuff. Like the fact that you were just doing what he created you to love, and he worked everything out for you. And it's just
yeah,
so cool to see that, like, on a perspective of that level. That because I said that sounds like God, that's so God, but
yeah,
then I was like, oh, I should point out like the fact that you weren't even like
yeah,
purposely like praying or anything. Like God loves all of us so much. It doesn't matter,
yeah,
you know what we're doing. He's just always taking care of everyone, even
yeah,
people who don't
everyone.
know him. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean, because really, I
that's
that's why I said earlier, I don't even know what I was doing to get the work. People go like, well, you were brave. I wasn't particularly a brave, person. Like I wasn't like one of those people, they talk about those people in Hollywood, and I've met some of those people, that they just show up,
mm-hmm.
um, and they'll go on on a sound stage and they'll go into an office and sit there as if they worked there. I didn't, I had none of those. I thought they were great ideas, but I go like, I'm not doing that. I don't know what I just, and I could say, and that's how I coach also, because a lot of people, they're in classes, they get stuck in classes because they're doing certain things, but it's really not in doing those things that gets you where you need to go, where you need to be. Okay, because I could tell you, well, okay, now this is it. You send 10 resumes out a day and you call, 50 people every day. And first of all, that's not even me. I've done that, not
Yeah.
in the industry, but I've done it and I've taken business classes. I've done all that stuff. And what I'm sorry to say that a lot of that is BS because
Mm,
really God's got us. Even
yeah.
when we don't know he's got us, he's got
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I did whatever came into my mind, you know. And was I a planner? Yeah, I mean, I guess, I like to plan a little bit, but I wasn't so excessive or, obsessed by, that. I just followed, really. I think at that time, I guess I would have called it my instincts, but I really feel I followed where God was taking me,
Yeah.
and and then when I got born again, I go, that's what he was doing all along.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would have relaxed a little bit more, and I would have enjoyed it a lot more,
Yeah.
had I known what I know now,
Mm-hmm.
and
Good.
so yeah. So
Yeah.
I get excited, but I do, from taking classes from you, that I feel that we should be as prepared as we can be.
Mm.
Why not? And that's not, it shouldn't be a hard thing to do, because if you love something, you just want to do it, you
Mm-hmm.
know and when you want to do it, that shows.
Mm-hmm.
People want you to do it. They want to work with you. They like you, even though they don't even know why they like you. you know
Yeah.
and
Awesome.
you just have favor when. And so people can, but they can write a book about that. Well, but she got that because she worked doing this and that. And that really, that's not
Yeah.
true. That's
Yep.
not true. you know I mean, really, a lot of the things that I did do them because they were the things that people were telling me to do. But
Mm-hmm.
even the things that they didn't tell me, it was the things that they didn't tell me to do that actually worked better.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know it's like everything
Definitely
that, no, you
do it.
shouldn't do that. Don't go bother them. Don't say that. Don't do this. Don't go up and talk to that person, because I did all the opposite of those things, not because I was trying to be contrary, but because I'm going like, why shouldn't I compliment a person if I think they're doing a great job at something? Why shouldn't I go up to Mr. Director, famous director, and tell him, I love your work?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just so impressed. It's really moving. Thank you. And walk away.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with that? I'm not going to live in this little box that you're telling me, don't do this, don't do that, gotta do that. Stop.
Yep. Yeah. That's good. I love that because I feel like there's a lot of fear in the industry of like doing something wrong. And
Mhm.
it just relieves the pressure when you just trust that God's got you. You just do be brave. Because I think that's the thing too with auditioning. Like a lot of people, and I've experienced this, will be like, what does the director want? And like something you tell me is like, just go with the wave, like go with your instinct. And I actually have more fun when I'm doing that. So that's what I've been doing lately, like even doing an audition, I'll do it and be like, that was really fun. I like the way it looks. I'm like, maybe it's not what they want, but I think it's interesting, so I'll send it in. But I think it takes a while, unless, I mean, but I think that's a big thing, is just like letting go of trying to please. I think because that's not fun to people please.
Yeah. And the other thing too is, like, I think as creatives, we should always be creative, first of all, not waiting for somebody to give us a job, or for an
Mm-hmm.
audition, or for a class, or whatever. I naturally am creative every day, every hour of my life. It doesn't matter if I'm cooking, if I'm cleaning, even in the mundane things of life, I'm creative, because they're not, there's some things that, you know, I don't need to do necessarily. It's like, no, do I clean today or I clean tomorrow? Who cares? If
Yeah.
I care about it, then I go, okay, well, I'll clean it up today. But if I'm going to do that, then I'm going to do it in a creative way. I'm not going to make my bed the same way every day. I'm not going to do this the same way every day, because I'm creative. I want to go, well, what about this? How about if I change this? How about if I do this? When you're always in that kind of mode,
Mm-hmm.
then it doesn't really matter if somebody likes something or doesn't like something, because you've learned something for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have you've taken out a treasure, and you've taken out the your pretty toys that you can play with, and kind of adjust and dress and position, and that goes with you every time you go to do something where it's going to take somebody else's decision, whether you get the job or not. But if you can walk away, whether you get the job or not, if you can walk away from an audition or a shoot or, whatever it is that you're doing, and feel that you put it out, you put everything out on that table, you know, because you love doing it,
Mm-hmm.
because it was almost like second nature to you, because it wasn't like, oh, now I got to do this. No, you've been doing it. It's like I love the Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. That's like my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Wax on, wax off. I think that's how we really learn,
Mm.
the best. But we think we got to do this, and we got to do this now. And if we don't do this, and and we're always waiting for, like the destination, rather than enjoying the journey and learning from the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to tweak things on that journey.
Yep.
Being able to upgrade, yourself, not waiting for somebody else to tell you, yeah, that was good, but, needs to be a little bit better, or not, paying attention to every like look and smile that people give you to feel like, did I do good or didn't I do good? You should
Mm.
know that you did good.
Yeah.
If your
Good.
butt is out there on the line doing something, you don't need somebody else judging what you do. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
just be who you were created to be. Do that full on, full throttle, and then none of that other stuff is going to bother you. And you're going to get more work.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
You're going to get more work, because people like that. They don't even know what it is they're attracted to, but and again, it comes from a natural place. It doesn't come from all that hard work at trying. And see, a lot of people are in trouble in the business right now because they've given that up.
Mm.
I mean, we're going to see a lot of stuff come out in the woodwork, come out of the woodwork right now with what's going on in Hollywood and the government and the thing, because people, they paid a price for something that they thought they wanted, that they actually already had. And
Mm-hmm.
now they really do have to pay a price,
Yeah.
and so who you are and what you were called to do and how you were made to do it, is every day it's a fresh new thing that you keep applying. It's like, and it keeps just getting better and better, and you keep enjoying it more. I'm telling you, that's one of the first questions I ask people come to class. Why do you want to be an actor?
Yep.
And what would you do it if you never got paid or never got acknowledgement for it?
Mm-hmm.
You have to answer those questions, because if you're always going to be waiting for those things, you're never going to be happy, and you're probably never going to get to do it, because you're always
Mm.
waiting on somebody else to give you that approval. You don't
Yep.
need that approval to be
Yep.
good or to be working. I'm very proud of you, because see, you're doing something like this, where
Mm-hmm.
you're using your creativity, where you're using your time, that's valuable. You and Corey, you do things, outside of somebody telling you, do this, don't do that, do this. You come in prepared. You're probably one of the two students that I've had, and I've taught thousands, that really always came in prepared.
Mm.
You knew your stuff, no excuses.
Yep.
Well, I had to do this. My dog ate my script. None of that stuff. You came prepared with ideas. You weren't waiting on anybody. So
Yeah.
I'm very, very proud of you. And any of my students, I have quite a lot of students that do things on their own. They're creative. They've got podcasts, blogs. They're doing films. They're writing stuff. They're producing stuff. Lots of stuff. Whatever. They're directing things, because I don't keep them to one close thing. When you come in, I see not just the one thing
Mm-hmm.
that you might be coming in for. I see a whole kaleidoscope of stuff happening within that person, and I go, okay, where do we start? Where do we go? And then I leave that up to you. Usually, people will usually track.
Mm.
They'll usually show up in the thing that they love the most.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Awesome. Thank you, Rosanna. We have only a few minutes left, and then I'll kick us off of Instagram, I think. I don't know how Facebook works, but I wanted, before we say goodbye, my mom asked if you worked with like certain famous actors you worked with. So maybe like a few minutes, like maybe 2 minutes of that you can name any famous actor. She wanted to know.
Well, all the people on Dallas for 8 years,
Yeah. True.
Patrick Duffy, uh, Larry Hagman, Linda Gray, Victoria Principal, Barbara Bel Geddes, Susan Howard. um, yeah, there's a lot of them actually.
Met Tom Hanks, you mentioned too.
Huh? Who?
Got to meet Tom Hanks, you mentioned.
Who is it?
Tom Hanks.
Oh yeah, I met him. I didn't work with him, but I met him. Yeah. Matter of fact, we talked just right after he had done an interview with oh gosh, she's a comedian. She took over the Johnny Carson, huh? Joan Rivers.
Oh,
and
yeah.
She was really harsh, with people that would go on the show. And he had just been on the night before, and I met him at the rap party.
Okay.
And so, he was obviously good friends with Chris, who was the director and producer. But anyway, I said, "Oh, I saw you last night. He was amazing." I said, "You were amazing." He goes, "Really?" He goes, "I did good." So we had a conversation. It was, it was good. It was good. But there's been a lot of people. I mean, a lot of times my kids laugh because we'll be watching TV and I'll go, "Oh, I worked with him. Or I worked with her. Or I knew." But then if you ask me, I'm like going, I don't remember outside of the names really for. I worked at Motown. I worked with, I took care of Michael Jackson.
Okay.
I worked for Dick Clark Productions, so Dick Clark. Who else? Diana Ross. Just quite a few people up there.
That's cool.
That I worked with.
Yeah. So my mom was wondering. So my mom says that she's enjoyed listening. She wanted me to tell you that. She's been enjoying listening.
What?
She's been enjoying listening to you.
Oh, good, good. I wish we had a third panel so we could put her on there.
I know, that would be fun. Well, I'll have to end this because we only have a few minutes left. But I just want to say there's so much more that I want to talk about. So we'll have to get you on again. But thank you, Roseanna, for chatting. I love how we kind of swam through what you've done, but also what you've learned, what you're learning right now, and just your encouragement for people who are pursuing not just acting, but creativity. I just really appreciate everything. And everything you said, I'm soaking in. I haven't had a lesson in a while, so I'm soaking up all your, I know. And
yeah, this was good. It helps me too. I that's why I love classes, because as I'm teaching that, because I just love being around, creative people. And, I probably talk too much, but
no, it's perfect. It's loved it. So perfect. Seriously. We talked about things that I'm oh, this is gold. So people who listen later are going to so enjoy everything that you've said. And we'll have to get you on and have you talk about Dallas, more stuff. But anyways,
sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
Oh, yeah, I just said that we'll have to get you on again and have you talk more about Dallas and different other things too. But thank you, Roseanna, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Hopefully we'll see each other before Christmas, maybe. Just hi or something. Yeah. Say hi to Corey. God bless you. Bye, Mom, again. Love you.
Bye, Mom. Bye, love you. Bye, Roseanna. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Bye. And
Bye.
thank you for joining Coffee with Colleen, and I'll see you guys next week.